Hello everybody, I am working on a water pump replacement on my Pontiac Solstice here, 2007 Solstice. Was leaking coolant. When I would drive it, it would be fine, but when I would slow down or shut it off, get ready to pull off for a stop after a couple hundred miles, the low coolant light would come on and I'd fill it up and do the same thing, drive a couple hundred miles and low coolant light would come on again, and I could never see anything leaking on the ground. Well, finally, after I took this car to NASM and drove it for a week or more and put about 1,200 miles on it, I brought it back here at my shop here and parked it, sat for a couple weeks, and then I started seeing a trail of coolant coming from the water pump on the car. So I'm in the process of replacing the water pump, and kind of give you an idea here, the water pump is back in here. You can see it right down in this area, right down in there. That's where the water pump is, and it's got 2 bolts on the back that hold it in, and then there's 2 bolts on the front that hold it in, and it also bolts into a timing chain because there's a chain that drives the water pump, and so you have to get this special plate that goes on the front of the Ecotec motor. Can't see it real good, it's right down in here. There's a plate that bolts on that allows you to put some alternate screws into the gear, and if you look down in there you can see the gear is in there and it's got some screws in there holding it and holding the chain tight, and that's how you're able to take the water pump out. You have to put that tool in there that allows you to take the water pump out. So I took the exhaust header off and or manifold off and everything to get into it. You got to take the thermostat housing loose back there in the back to get to it as well, because there's a pipe, this crossover pipe right here, this coolant crossover pipe that goes between the water pump and the water manifold and the thermostat back there at the back. So got all that apart. I'm just about ready to put it back together. This here is the new water pump. That's an AC Delco part, OEM part that's going to go back in. It's just the front half of the pump, and then this is the back half of the pump that came off of the car. And it looks like that's where the leaking was. When I took it apart, there was a lot of corrosion all around this flange. Looked like coolant had been leaking through there. So I took some time with some sandpaper and got it all cleaned up to where it looks nice. Cleaned out the corrosion that was down in the area where the rubber O-ring goes in around there. Had some corrosion down in there too, and so I cleaned all that out nice. And then I'm getting ready to put this thing back together, and then once I do, it's going to go back in the car. And then here's the old water pump that came out. Kind of give you a quick look at it. You can kind of see there's corrosion on the front of it here, and then if I flip it over, excuse me, that was the back. This is the back where that other piece right here bolts to it. You can see all the corrosion around here, and I believe it was leaking water in places around there, and that's where the coolant leak was. So just about to put her back together, and hopefully that'll take care of my coolant leak.